How we view God determines our view of everything else in our lives. If we have an incorrect view of God, we will have an incorrect view of who we are. For those of you who follow the Soul Space Daily Reflections, you will be aware that last month we looked at some of the names attributed to God. It's amazing to realise that throughout Scripture there are over 100 names given to God that reflect the character of who He is. The more people come to know and understand the very nature of God, the more names they give Him. While some people wish they could have had a say in the name that they've been given, whether we like our name or not, a person's name is the greatest connection to their own identity. By using a person's name, we get their attention. It's a sign of courtesy and a way of recognising them. I recently listened to an interview with a high school teacher who stated that at the very beginning of the school year, in fact, by the end of the first week of the school year, he would commit to being able to remember and correctly pronounce the name of every student in his class. What made this even more challenging for him was the fact that most of his students were from different ethnic backgrounds, and more than half of the class were refugees who had fled their place of birth and all that had been familiar to them. They felt displaced and devalued and had lost their sense of identity. Many of their names were very difficult to pronounce, but he was determined to be able to speak their names correctly. He went on to explain why he felt it was so important to him. I want my students to realise that there are people who see them and respect them for their culture, for their abilities, for their strengths, and for their contribution to the school community. But most importantly, I want my students to know that I respect and value them for the whole person they are, including their beautiful names that are sometimes difficult to pronounce. They deserve nothing less. While there are far too many names attributed to God for me to remember or even share with you, they reveal so much about His character, but in essence they tell this about Him. He is fully trustworthy, always powerful, forever loving, and constantly present with us. In a world that often feels chaotic and fear-filled, His name is the one to hold close. If you need some extra reassurance today, find hope in His powerful name. He is the God of miracles and nothing is impossible for Him. The Bible tells us that the name of the Lord is like a strong tower, a place of protection where people can run to and be safe. Don't believe the lie that God is distant, too busy, that He doesn't care about you, or that He is just waiting for you to mess up so He can tell you all you've done wrong. That's not who His name says He is. We hold on firmly to the promise that His love is everlasting. His mercies are new every morning and His faithfulness is great. There is power in His name. You can pass through His open gates with a password of praise. Come right into His presence with thanksgiving. Come bring your thank offering to Him and affectionately bless His beautiful name. For Yahweh is always good and ready to receive you. He's so loving that it will amaze you, so kind that it will astound you. And He is famous for His faithfulness toward all. Everyone knows our God can be trusted, for He keeps His promises to every generation. Psalm 100 verses 4 and 5.